If you have original woodwork in your home and you're thinking about painting it white before selling, I want you to pause for a second before you do that, because some of the most beautiful homes in central Massachusetts lose part of the charm and sometimes even their buyer appeal by covering up the very thing that made them special in the first place. Hi, I'm Maijia Donovan, realtor and professional home stager here in central Massachusetts. I work with a lot of vintage, antique, and character-filled homes, and one of the biggest questions sellers ask me is, should I paint the wood trim? And honestly, usually no. Not because original woodwork can ever feel outdated, sometimes it absolutely can, but because the wrong paint choices often create more problems than they solve. Today, I want to walk you through the paint colors that work beautifully with original woodwork instead of fighting against it. Original woodwork adds something many newer homes struggle to recreate: warmth, depth, craftsmanship, history. But the challenge is that many modern paint trends were designed for homes with bright white trim, open floor plans, cooler lighting, and very different architectural styles. Older homes are different. They are designed around layered materials and warmer tones. And when sellers try to force ultra-modern color palettes into those spaces, the homes can suddenly feel disconnected from itself. One of the biggest mistakes I see sellers is trying to make an older home feel like a brand new build. And buyers can feel that tension immediately, even if they can't explain why. The wrong paint color can suddenly make beautiful wood trim feel orange, dark, heavy, yellow, or outdated. But the right paint color does the opposite. It softens the contrast, balances the warmth, and allows the trim to feel intentional and elevated instead of overwhelming. That's why choosing the right wall color matters so much in vintage and character homes. One of my favorite directions for homes with original woodwork is warm creams. And I really want to emphasize, warm cream is very different from stark white. Bright builder white can create such a sharp contrast against older trim that the trim suddenly looks darker and more orange than it actually is. Warm creams soften that transition beautifully. They allow the woodwork to feel integrated into the home instead of visually separated from it. And especially in older New England homes, warm creams create the really beautiful glow and natural light that buyers respond to emotionally. These colors photograph incredibly well, which matters because most buyers are seeing your home online first. Muted greens can also work beautifully with original trim, especially sage, olive, dusty green tones. These colors tend to feel grounded and historic in a way that complements older homes naturally. And unlike trendy cool grays, muted greens usually feel softer and more connected to the warmth of the wood. They can make a room feel cozy, elevated, and timeless all at once. And I also think these colors work especially well in dining rooms, libraries, bedrooms, and homes with a lot of natural texture. If you want a more natural look, warm Greige or Taupe shades usually work much better than cool gray. Cool grays often clash badly with warm wood tones. That's when rooms start feeling disconnected or slightly cold. Warmer neutrals help bridge the gap between the trim, flooring, furniture, and lighting so the room feels cohesive instead of competing with itself. One thing homeowners often underestimate is how dramatically lighting changes paint color. A color that looks beautiful in a bright showroom can suddenly feel muddy, yellow, or cold in an older home with smaller windows, warm trim, or softer natural light. That's why I always recommend testing paint colors directly next to your trim at different times of the day before committing. Morning light, afternoon light, and lamp light can completely change how a color feels. The biggest mistake I see sellers make is choosing paint colors in isolation. They look at the wall color alone instead of considering the trim, the flooring, lighting, and an overall feeling of the room. And honestly, stark white walls are often the biggest offender. Instead of modernizing the room, they can actually make original woodwork feel more dated by comparison. I think one of the biggest misconceptions in real estate right now is that every older home needs to be stripped of personality to sell well. But many buyers looking at vintage and character homes want warmth. They want craftsmanship, texture, authenticity, and history. They just want it presented thoughtfully. Your goal isn't to erase the home story, it's to help buyers see how beautiful that story can live today. If you're preparing to sell a home with original woodwork, I created a free resource that can help. My ultimate staging prep list walks you step by step through how to prepare your home before listing while still preserving the character buyers love. You'll find the link below in this video. And if you're enjoying staging tips and advice for vintage and character homes, make sure to subscribe to Stage to Sell in Central Massachusetts, because every home tells a story and thoughtful staging helps buyers hear it.